Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Mike and Matt Bodybuilding Show, brought to you by ProSups. We're on location at the My Oatmeal factory, I should say. One of my sponsors, and actually Anthony's one of the big sponsors of all the people in Arizona as a local athlete. We can't thank him enough for coming out here and giving back to everybody. So we do appreciate it very much. I have a special guest. Me and this guy go back kind of a little ways. I think it might surprise a lot of people, but I think my vision, his vision is the same. I think it's all about this sport and it's about growing this sport. So with no further ado, I want to introduce Tyler Meyer to the show. Come on in, bro. Thanks for coming on, man. I do appreciate it very much.
Appreciate it.
If you guys don't know Tyler, he is a staple point, and I like to use the word synonymous with the sport of bodybuilding around here. Ever since I've been here in Arizona, I've heard of this guy. I've watched his athletes. He puts out a good athlete. He puts out himself is also a good athlete. He is a pro, and that kind of start right there, man. Talk to me a little bit about your run to getting a pro. What league that you're, what federation that you're a pro in, and what's coming up next for you?
Well, I'm a pro in the IFPA, which is a national organization. I did OCB shows, since 2009. I competed in 2007 was when I started. What I did was my first pro show last year, and then I didn't do as good as my first pro show, pro debut, and I did Team USA's for the PNBA and got third place, and then hanging on my trunks for a few years.
You're going to take some time off?
And take 3 years off because I just don't want to compete right now.
Right.
I just want to put on some size and do the powerlifting.
Well, and I think and he's probably being real with his physique and where he's at in life. And a lot of times people say, how do you get here and how do you get there? But being real with life, if you're not ready to compete, by all means, don't get on stage. I'm sure you would tell your people that.
Okay, right now with the business growing, what I do with the TNT stuff, I just want to grow that right now.
Right, and spend a little bit more energy.
That's my primary concern as of right now. And then 3 years from now, I'll probably compete again. It just depends on, I have to use my card within 3 years, otherwise I lose it.
Okay.
So I have to compete again if I want to keep it.
Sure.
If I don't, then I'll just let it go.
Right.
So I'm on the fence, it just depends on where I'm at.
Right. Well, I want to talk a little bit about, just touch briefly on you getting your card. I've seen the guy compete a few different times. You get absolutely shredded, dude. Your conditioning is always spot on. So tell me about when you were on stage, man. There's you and one other dude left. And was it the winner was going to turn pro, so you had to win your class in order to turn pro, or how does that work?
So with with the OCB, there are shows that are regional, and then there's pro qualifier shows. So the regional shows, they don't have pro cards, so you have to do a pro card qualifier, which is different from NPC. NPC, you have to go to national.
Right.
One from there. But if you win a pro qualifier show, if you win the overall, you win your pro card. Now, if there are some shows that have like 30 or more in class, or like the open class, then sometimes they'll give a pro card for each class.
Each class.
Like the nationals they do.
Sure.
So I won the overall in 2011, and I was against 3 other guys. So it was 4 of us in the overall. And yeah, it's pretty.
I didn't get to see the pics or anything, but what is it that you think stood out to the judges that gave you the nod above the other 2 guys?
Probably my glutes.
Really?
Probably.
You do have some you do have sick glutes.
Well, the thing is I'm not very big, and I know it. I'm not very big.
Right.
So for me to play my cards right, I have to do well with the conditioning.
Absolutely.
And if I'm not conditioned, I won't. I mean,
right.
As you know, you have to.
Absolutely.
So with I can't play the size game because I'm an ectomorph and I'm a hard gainer.
Sure.
So with the size thing, I just get straight at glutes and put my pro card.
Get lean. Well, and I think again, it's a testament to conditioning. My whole life, I've never been the biggest guy, but I've always been typically one of those guys that's really lean and ripped out. And I think, wouldn't you agree that conditioning takes you a long ways?
Well, it does. It does. I mean, obviously, you have to have some size.
Right.
Size matters to a point, but if you aren't lean enough, you're not going to do well. And it goes even with NPC, OCB. The naturals just seem to go a little bit harder with the conditioning.
Right.
But the leaner you are, the bigger you look on stage. If you fill out properly, you're going to look much bigger.
Did you hear that, guys? It's true. I mean, and it really is. I think that when you try to go and pass out or skip over that conditioning side of it, and I'm super big on it, so I like to harp on it. I won overalls and more shows being the most conditioned guy and the smallest guy. And so by all means, don't be afraid to let the scale drop a little bit, but you can still look much bigger. I mean, it's all about a visual thing. And so, I mean, conditioning, I'm right there with you. I think it's very, very important.
At my bodybuilding camp this past weekend, I showed probably like 30 minutes of why it's important to have more conditioning over size. And I showed like before and afters of clients I've worked with who were worried about the scale and worried about size for years, and they didn't do well. They'd be like a third, a fourth, maybe a second, but they would never win the card. And then I took them on and got them leaner. You know, they're like 10 pounds lighter, or even there's some that were like 15 pounds lighter.
That's a battle in itself dealing with them, I'm sure.
Mentally, it was really hard.
Yeah.
So they looked 15 pounds heavier.
Right.
So it's all an illusion.
It is all an illusion, and again, I cannot emphasize it enough. Bring your conditioning, because there's a few things that you can control in this sport. Your work ethic and your conditioning. If you bring those two things, you're going to get rewarded 9 times out of 10, I think.
Absolutely.
Let's talk real quickly about this camp that you just had. It was in conjunction, you had like Matt Christiana there, you had some people there. So real quickly, I really don't know too much about it, but talk to the people, tell us a little bit about it, and if you're going to have another one coming up in the future.
Yeah, I had my first bodybuilding camp with Team Klimzeski and TNT, which I don't know if any of you guys know who TNT is, but it's Tyler's Nutrition Training. It's my business that I've created, and I've come together with Dr. Joe Klimzeski of Team K. And what we did was we did a bodybuilding camp of just general nutrition, comparisons of different plans of dieting for shows. We talked about the IFYM a little bit. And then we just talked about posing, metabolic rebuilding, metabolic rehab, post-show, diet, and what to do post-show, because a lot of us blow up pretty quick. Dr. Joe actually Skyped in for the peaking side of things.
Nice.
He did a lecture on that, and then Andrew Petrojevsky from Petro's Pro Performance, he actually did a segment on training and why it is beneficial to have a coach. And then Matt Christianer talked about the industry and how basically what's your goal with the industry and why are you doing what you're doing. And he shed some real light on
what the reality of it is. My PS brother, Matt. Very cool, dude. And maybe the next time you do, throw me a holler. I want to come out and take a look at it. I would love to sit down with you guys.
We're actually going to do one probably this fall. We're going to plan on doing one every spring and fall, because if we can do one in spring, we're trying to help the fall competitors. And in the fall, we're trying to help the spring competitors.
Perfect. You said TNT, so those of you guys that are local, or even you go beyond that now, dude. You got clients all over the place, don't you? You know, Tyler has a great team. He puts together some really, really good athletes, and it's growing, dude. Like, I literally watch you all over the feed, and your team is growing. So again, let's talk about how can somebody get a hold of you? Are you still taking on clients? I mean, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, you can either email me or my website, www.teamtnt.info, which is my website, or you can email me at tyler@teamtnt.info. So you can look in there, you can see my athletes on there. But when I first started, you know, in 2009 or 2010, you know, I was in a very low calorie diet, tons of cardio. I didn't know what I was doing originally. And post-show, I binged pretty hard. Like, I gained like 30 pounds in 5 days. I don't know if, I'm sure you've done that.
I absolutely know the feeling.
And I felt miserable. And so I just did a lot of research, and I'm like, there's got to be another way of what's good for me.
Right.
And, you know, keeping the sustainability of your diet post-show really makes a difference.
Yeah.
And so then I came across the IFYM side of it, and then I actually just wanted to help a few people. And then they told other people, and they came to me, and then they kept spreading, and then it just kept growing from there.
Right.
So I originally came into this not really thinking I would do it full time.
Sure.
And now
here it is.
Yeah.
How many people you got under your belt now?
Oh God. I don't know.
Here in the States, don't know.
Quite a few, right?
I mean, I have clients all over the world, so it's not...
So you're international too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome, dude. So what do you do? Everything's passed through like the online stuff, pictures and those kind of emails, that kind of stuff?
Pictures, check-ins, daily. Daily for some who really need it.
Sure.
For the hand holding.
Absolutely.
Which is fine.
Which you know comes along with this sport.
Exactly. We have like weeklies, and peak week is like in depth every every day, getting the crux of it. So I give them as much support as they need.
Sure.
I mean, some need daily, some need just weekly.
So you're readily available for your people when
Yep.
they need you,
Yep.
which I think is a testament to his commitment to not only the sport, but the commitment to the people that believe in him and trust in him. Because it's not easy just to go and say, here, let me give you money and take me to a show, and if you don't do well, then I'm gonna blame you.
Yeah.
And so I my hat's off to you, man. I mean, I don't really like to train a whole lot of people. I like to help a few people, but to me, man, I have such a low tolerance, I think, for the cradling kind of thing that I just go ahead and pass. I'm gonna start passing them over to this guy.
Well, there are some that are a little bit more needy than others,
Right.
but as part of being a coach, you just have to be really patient.
Correct.
And once you can get past that threshold, it's way better, especially when you see them on stage.
Sure.
And, okay, they're happy.
And that's kind of cool too. You can live vicariously through them too.
Yeah.
Especially over the
And
next
that's
few
why
years.
I'm kind of on the fence about hanging my trunks up.
Right.
Not, at least for now, where I can live through them on stage.
Sure.
If they win in first place, it's just.
And their success, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
And again, that's a testament to who this guy is. That's hard to give that up. As a bodybuilder, we have egos. I mean, I don't care if you're in the OCB or if you're in the NPC or if you're in the IFBB. You work your ass off to get to this point, and so of course, you take pride in what you do. Let me ask you this: what do you think, as people are watching this and they're thinking about, they're looking for a coach? What is it about you that separates you from the other guys out there?
Well, what I provide is the support. That's huge. The communication is I push for communication. If people don't talk to me, it's really hard to help.
How do you know exactly?
It's the progress is very. I mean, if you're really serious about competing, you definitely have to talk to your coach. If you hire them, you hire them for that reason.
Correct.
Utilize them. What I try and do is I try and go above and beyond what I hear people other do.
Sure.
Yes, I never worked with anybody else other than Joe.
Right.
So I always try and make sure that I'm always available, responding within a day. I take pride in my response time with emails or just whatever it may be.
Sure.
And then I try and just make sure locals, I'll help them with posing, I'll meet up with them all the time and make sure they're on point with everything.
So this guy is truly readily available, whether you be local, international, wherever you might be. He's here for you guys. This is his full-time gig, and he's doing it, and he's doing it in full effect and making an impact. And again, I think that his vision and everything that you bring to the table is just a testament why we're here today. And I think you're doing good things, man, and you need to be commended, and that needs to be rewarded. And so that definitely doesn't go unnoticed.
Cool. Thank you.
What about the competing side of it again? You're not going to compete for 3 years, you were saying?
Yeah, 3 years, at least 2016. Just because it's, I like the powerlifting.
Right.
I'll be honest.
Well, and then we chatted a little bit about powerlifting and possibly even teaming up and getting a sanctioned meet together. But tell me a little bit about that and what transitioned you into powerlifting. Because when I see you in the gym, I see you pulling weight or squatting.
Thanks.
You and your girl all the time.
Nicole's lifts some more than I do sometimes.
You guys are always lifting.
She's a boss. Anyway, the reason why I got into powerlifting, well, one, Steve Kleva. I watched him do some meets, and I'm like, man, I can do this. But actually, the real reason, I mean, he's part of it, but the biggest reason is I started getting unmotivated. I didn't want to compete anymore. I didn't want to go through all of the tracking my food, getting all that. I was starting to get to the point where I wanted out.
Right.
And so, I talked to Steve, and he actually talked me into it a little bit, hey, let's do a meet. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do a meet. And so I actually got in the gym and pushed harder. I set goals just in terms of weight, obviously, for powerlifting.
Sure.
That kept me motivated. And then I did a meet, and I'm like, all right, I'm hooked. I'm going to do another one.
Nice.
3 months later, and then I'm hooked again, did another one 5 months later. And then I want to do more, but I had to do my prep.
Right.
Because I had to keep my card. So I did that, and I tried powerlifting while I was prepping, and it was hard.
It's too tough.
And then after my prep, I just went back to it, last November, training for a meet in February, and I'm hooked. It's hard. I like eating more. And
Sure, absolutely.
So,
Now, do you coach people in the powerlifting realm as well?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. So if you guys are interested in getting into powerlifting, or you want to learn technique, because you'd probably agree that the powerlifting is definitely, it's technique.
It is. A lot of it's technique.
Yeah.
I help a lot of people that who struggle with like squatting and
Sure.
lifting, and they are upset that they're not hitting a certain weight. I'm like, all right, let's look at your form. And
Right.
I'll break it down, and all of a sudden they're hitting PRs. Like,
There you
that
go.
day.
Well, form is where it's at, regardless if you're a bodybuilder or a power lifter or whatever you might be. You need to do it correctly. If you're not only are you risking injury, but you look kind of foolish in the gym too. We're all laughing at you. Real quick before we get you out of here, man. You know, I want to talk a little bit about the whole diet thing. Obviously, we're on two ends of the spectrum in terms of how we skin a cat. But I won't lie to you, man. I'm so interested in knowing more about it that, you know, I truly want to learn about it. So just talk to me a little bit about your dieting methods, you know, kind of the theory behind it. Because I'll be honest, I think it gets kind of a bad name sitting out there with
It does.
people put the only things they're posting is all the shit food that's involved in it. And they're not really posting what the core of it is. And so I just don't believe that Pop-Tarts and marshmallows are what this whole thing is about. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not. People abuse it.
Right.
Some do, and we preach that part of it being because it's so different. So that's all you see on Facebook
Right.
and everywhere, and IG, and we're eating crap and we're getting lean. Well, they don't eat crap the whole time.
Exactly.
There's some dude, like one of my clients, Petro, he went to the extreme and he was like the ultimate flexible dieter.
Right.
But he ate nothing but junk food his whole prep because he wanted to prove to people that you can eat this, and he won his pro card a
Right.
couple weeks ago. So what I do is I do the IFPA approach, which is if it fits your macros. It's a flexible way of eating. You count your protein, your carbs and fats, and some fiber. It's really simple. It's kind of what you do. There's nothing wrong with either of
Right.
the two. Your way, the meal plan stuff, it's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just more of it's like precise tracking,
Right.
in terms of numbers. It's just a number game.
Sure.
Math. And if you can fit stuff in, it's great. But when you start taking food out, it's similar to what you guys do. Like you might do 6 ounces of sweet potatoes, you might bring it down to 4. Well, we bring it down 20 grams of carbs.
Right.
So it's essentially the same thing. It's just
See, and that's what I've
different
always,
terms.
and that's what I've always kind of like, thought about. It's like, we're still, in essence, I still do, like, I know it's 40 grams of protein and it's this and this. It's just, it's on a different level. And so I don't really I don't think there's as huge as of a distinction between them as people want to claim there
Yeah.
could be. You know what I mean? I think it's a little bit closer than what it is. And when people stop putting all this stuff on there and glorifying that, you know, you can eat all this, I think then the mindset will change. And hopefully things like this are going to start changing too, you know, change people's mindset.
The part of the reason why I started preaching it is because post-show is very, very bad for a lot of people because they don't know. Coaches will give them a diet. It's usually a meal plan typically. They only know how to do this meal plan.
Right.
That's it. Once they go out and they start eating the crap food that they never had, they can't stop eating. And then they go back to the meal plan, but they don't know how to eat.
Right. I'm going to interrupt you real quick. When he says post-show, guys, what he's talking about, what he's referring to is there's an explosion in weight generally for guys and girls after a show. And if you go and you eat a bunch of crap food, you literally blow up. For guys, generally, I mean, if you can get past the uncomfortable part, we can get away with it just because we like to be big and...
We just keep going.
Right.
Usually women have a hard time.
Women, you know, to me, they have to be cradled afterwards is more important than guiding into the show, because I think on the mental side of it, it affects them 10 times more than it does a guy. You know what I mean? We know, dude. We know we can get lean. We know all that goes away. We know that you know. I just think that whole bloating feeling and that uncomfortable feeling for women is the worst feeling. And they worked really, really hard, harder than most guys to get in that shape. And then, you know, 3 days later, they're, oh my God, what happened to me?
Then they go back on the diet and they can't lose weight, and then they binge again. And
Right, and
it
that
just ends up
and that's a testament to you again. And if you guys are looking for a coach that seems like he's going to be there during the diet, after the diet, as long as you need him to make sure that your body is balanced and back and regular, dude, you can't ask for anything more than that, man. I mean, that's exactly what we need in this sport, is people to be there from the start to the finish, not for 16 weeks. You know, there's a big difference.
And that's
there.
usually what people do. They're like, okay, here's my week amount. I'm done, so
Right.
I'm going to go.
Right.
And I wanted to teach people that post-show, they can still implement those foods that they've been eating and still not feel guilty. Even during their diet, they don't feel
Right.
guilty. So you can diet a little longer.
Sure.
So like me, I always diet 30 weeks because I can have my ice cream
Right.
Every once in a while,
Right.
I feel human and normal, and I won't binge. But if I do a 12-week restricted, I can't handle it.
Right.
You know, for me, going really low calorie right from the beginning is hard for me. I mean, just mentally for me, it's hard.
True, I know that feeling. I'm 3 weeks out, man. This literally is what I am. I am a fish right now. Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I'm super interested in it. I'm interested so much so that I didn't talk about this before because I wanted to throw this out to you and get a surprise answer. But after my show, I want to know as a bodybuilder and maybe even hopefully an IFBB pro after this, I want to give you the reins. I want to let you run my meal plan your way for 12 weeks.
Wow.
100%. I'll give it up to you. We'll document it. We'll check it out. We'll do weekly updates. We'll put it out on the internet. We're going to see what it's all about. I don't want to just talk out of my mouth. I want to know exactly what's happening. And so if you're interested in, give me a couple weeks after the shows to regulate myself. That way I'll be ripped still. You know what I mean? You'll have a clean slate I'll stay lean and I'll give you a clean slate. We talked about it on the way down here that I'll be chiseled still in order for you to go ahead and give it a go. So we'll see what happens.
You got to be willing to. Dusty's a good coach. Nothing against Dusty at all. Don't take it that way. Just be willing to go outside the box.
Dude,
that's all.
when I give it, and this is you asked Matt because it was me and Matt talked about this, and Matt wants to do the same thing. So you're gonna have full reins, 100%.
Okay.
And I've always been that way as helping people out, and as a coach, I don't question it.
Okay.
If it's on the paper, we do it.
Okay.
Period. That's how it is. I think that's how all people should be. I mean, to me, when you're questioning what I'm doing, what are you trusting in me? So again, I look forward to it, man. I want to see what happens. I want to see how my body reacts to it, and then I can give a full-on review of the true sides of both sides of it. So I'm really truly looking forward to it, man.
Cool. Be great.
Anything else, dude, that you got or you want to say? I know that you have to have sponsors and people that help you
do.
get to this point, and so if you want to give them a shout out, man.
Anthony Colo with myoatmeal.com.
Anthony!
I've been on board with Anthony for a while.
Anthony, get on in here, man.
He had Biopulse Nutrition. He actually, he gave me a chance when I did the NPC show in 2011. I won my class, and he's like, man, I want you on my team. So then My Oatmeal came after Biopulse, and he helped me out with that. So he's one of my sponsors.
It's a love story, really.
Yeah, it's a love story. And then Core Nutritionals with Doug Miller. I mean, Doug is awesome. I love their brand. I love their line and supplements. I believe in them, and I wouldn't take on a sponsor if I didn't believe in them.
Right. Now, is that a product that other people can purchase?
Yeah, it's like Pro Subs.
Okay.
But
where can they get it, dude? You got a website you can pop out to?
www.corenutritionals.com. They have actually a commodity line that just came out with, like your beta-alanine, your straight, like one ingredient supplements.
Sure.
Like your creatine, your beta, your arginine,
taurine, glutamine,
taurine,
amino acids,
BCAAs. And then you have like the test boosters, the pre-workouts, the
So
protein.
they're a full line. They have it all.
Yep, they're
Nice.
full line. Yep. And yeah.
Of course, you got your family, your friends, and all your
Family,
loved
friends,
ones. You can't forget them, man.
Nicole's my rock.
Of course, man. You
Nicole
forget
Hummel.
the girl, dude. She'll be, when the camera goes off, see what happens then.
No, she's my rock. She's my support. If I didn't have her, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now.
You know what? That's awesome. I mean, honestly, it's awesome to have somebody that is in it, but also understands it, and you guys are such a support system. I see these guys at the gym, and they're doing their thing, and those who train together stay together. It happens.
Yeah, I wouldn't be full-time if it weren't for her.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That is super cool. Well, dude, I appreciate it. I truly do, man. I appreciate you coming on the show.
man.
But before we get out of here, my man,
That's me. I'm your man.
my man, Anthony. No, again, I just wanted to bring Anthony on the show. We want to talk a little bit about, there's an event coming up on the 24th that's pretty huge. If you're local and you're in the Phoenix area and you want to literally see the biggest bodybuilder in the world, he'll be here. All 335 pounds of him. Big Rami will be in the house. Let's talk about it real quick, man.
Yeah, Dennis James' show is on May 31st, which is also Dennis James' birthday. The week before that, the Saturday before that, is the 24th, and we're bringing Big Rami in. So Dennis is going to bring him out here. They're going to be in the myoatmeal.com packing facility, and they're going to be signing autographs, taking photos, Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and whatever, and it's going to be a good event. We're going to get a tent from Big AZ Promotions, and we are going to have some tables, and GAT has just agreed to send a whole bunch of free supplements and stuff. Hopefully we can get Pro Subs.
You know what? I think PS is going to have to send some subs down. As a matter of fact, we'll be making an email right after this, and I guarantee we're going to be bringing some stuff down.
Actually, my camp last weekend, Pro Subs gave us
Bring out some stuff, man.
We had 6-pack bags.
Awesome.
Bunch of
They gave us
t-shirts.
some stuff,
Yeah.
my oatmeal. So you guys got some great sponsors.
Yeah, you know, they really are, and they're people that are willing to give back, just like some of your guys' sponsors that are bringing it in. May 24th, correct?
May 24th, yeah, between 11 and 2 o'clock. It's going to be about 3 hours. They're going to be down here. There might be a couple other pros that come here. Can't say anything yet because I'm not exactly sure who's committed, but Dennis was trying to work
Bring
something
some
out.
people down.
Yeah, but we're going to have a tent. We're going to have a food truck. We are going to have some supplements, some giveaways. Everybody's going to leave with at least some sort of bag of oatmeal or a discount code or something, and a chance to meet Big Rami and Dennis, which is pretty big because he's big name right
He's
now.
really big.
He's
like really big.
he's huge.
His right leg is bigger than
Dude, he is so big. Anyways, guys, come on down to the My Oatmeal facilities. I'm sure we're going to start blasting it across social media, so we'll get you the addresses, times, all that good stuff again. There's going to be giveaways. You got GAT Nutrition. Of course, PS is going to be in the house. There's no question about it. It'll probably draw a lot of other pros, so if you're local, you're here, you're in the area, and you want to get exposed to this world a little bit, come on down. Introduce yourself, say hello, get some oatmeal. Hey, we want you down here, guys.
For sure.
For Mike Best, Tyler Mayer, Anthony Kalova, My Oatmeal, Pro Sups, 6-pack bags, hot bods, we got them all, man. MHTH, Big AZ Promotions, Peoria Ford. We don't stop. We can't stop. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you. Thanks, guys.